Welcome to the show, Proof of Work. I'm your host, Jerry Vada, and Peace, Love, Nick is and Music. Nick is co-hosting today. The today's episode is Bitcoin Boom coming soon. I know it doesn't seem like it today, but you have to be a little patient. Thanks for sitting in, Nick. I appreciate that.
No problem.
And also, peace, love. Thank you for stopping in today. We appreciate that as well.
Yeah, always a pleasure, man. Thanks for the invite.
You're welcome. Let's get into our sponsors before I forget. Quantum Expeditions. Obviously, if you are well aware of quantum economics, what Quantum Expeditions is doing from them, they're taking unused methane from flare and they're turning it into Bitcoin, right? And this is what I always tell people: if you're going to look into investing into a real Bitcoin mining operations, this is what you want to do. Their round is closed for public right now, but definitely wanted to thank them. Obviously, Shield Folio is our next one. Don't want to forget them. We do have a little QR code with a discount from them for, I think, 20% off. And basically, Shieldfolio protects seed phrases. They have a special pen, and if you want to read your seed phrase, it's waterproof, and you need a UV light to look at your seed phrases, kind of keeping it extra protection there. And finally, we want to thank the organized media and all the friends and fam at Bitcoin Live that do the shows. We appreciate everyone, like Nick and like Peace and Love, because it's a lot of hard work. But today's show is Bitcoin Boom coming soon. Yeah, I know it doesn't seem like it today, but don't, I said, I think a couple of months ago, don't be surprised before November 10th if we see a lot of turmoil in the markets, and we're seeing that right now, unfortunately. But yeah, what are your thoughts, man?
I'm always on a long view, especially with Bitcoin, right? I know we talk about price, and I always give people like the old, not financial advice. I'm just a jack off realtor. I'm not fit to give financial advice. But I do have my opinions. I love Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's definitely a long-term hold. Nobody ever went broke taking profits, but Bitcoin is probably the one asset that I personally am a never sell position on. I think it's long term. It's going to be around for a very long time. I think it's got way more upside. We're just in the institutional adoption phase right now, so I think we got a couple more years before it becomes mainstream and everything. But it's happening. I mean, you're getting, I forget which country it was this morning, just had a stable coin adoption for their
Indonesia.
What was it?
Indonesia.
Yes, Indonesia.
Oh, nice.
Actually, Indonesia just had a stable coin adoption legislation. It's coming, right? Bitcoin's here. It's already being adopted. So short-term price action. The Fed was very hawkish, even though they quietly ended QT yesterday, by the way. So they cut rates. They ended QT. I think Bitcoin is actually going to be just fine. I don't think that we're at the end of the cycle right now, or I don't think we're at the end of the bull cycle. I do think that there's more time, but if it goes down, I'm just going to keep accumulating more while we're building through the bear,
Yeah, I totally agree with that sentiment. Sorry, my dog wants to get in on the action. Sorry, bud. Hey, how are you? Got to get down to it, dude. He's like, no. But yeah, I have a video queued up here talking. We did a show. It's like, I think it's like one of our earliest episodes, talking just about what is happening here, which is that BlackRock is, trying to attack Bitcoin. And I just wanted to pull this up because this is a pretty good clip. We're not going to watch the whole thing. We're going to watch a decent amount. But here you go.
price in history isn't coming from hacks or scams, but from the most powerful people in finance. While everyone is distracted by inflation and rate cuts, Wall Street has been quietly accumulating staggering amounts of Bitcoin.
IBIT is now over $100
billion. I
Yeah,
know
so
from nothing not that long ago.
And 2 years ago, zero.
Yeah.
Bitcoin that may never return to circulation, right behind our backs. Stay tuned because in this episode, we're breaking down exactly how this is happening, who is behind it, and why it might be the most permanent supply shock Bitcoin has ever seen. BlackRock wants your Bitcoin. JP Morgan wants your Bitcoin. And
Yes, they do.
Bank of America now wants your Bitcoin too. But this time, it's not just another bullish adoption story. This is about control and what happens when the system Bitcoin rebelled against becomes the new custodian. Quantitative tightening, where they take dollars out of circulation, is coming to an end. Quantitative easing, where they flood the market with dollars, aka the money printer, is next. Right, Neil?
Your ATM is safe, your banks are safe, there's enough cash in the financial system, and there's an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve. We will do whatever we need to do to make sure that there's enough cash in the banking system.
Inflation is still hovering well past the Fed's goal of 2%. And when prices rise faster than wages, people stop spending, which slows the economy down. When the economy slows, the Fed reaches for the same old tool. They turn the money printer back on.
There it is.
Add the government shutdown on top of that, and we have a recipe for an almost certain round of emergency money printing and renewed quantitative easing. When that happens, the people who already have assets, Bitcoin, win.
This is correct.
Everyone else, unfortunately, gets diluted. Wall Street knows this. That's why you're seeing it now. Bitcoin ETFs sucking up supply. Banks accepting Bitcoin as collateral. And traditional finance turning orange, not because they believe, but because they're trying to keep their heads above water. Don't forget, BlackRock's IBIT ETF has been their best performing product, and now that they got a taste of Bitcoin's potential upside, they want more. Bloomberg just reported that Bitcoin whales have moved billions into BlackRock's IBIT ETFs, literally migrating coins from self-custody into Wall Street vaults. At the same time, Bank of America and JP Morgan are suddenly cool with Bitcoin-backed loans. Funny timing, right?
I never liked him. I never trusted him.
QT ends, liquidity dries up, and suddenly the banks that caused the last crisis seem desperate for real Bitcoin. Well, you paper Bitcoin. It's almost like they don't want to earn it, but they want to own it anyway.
The Bitcoin treasury company idea and the most elegant business model is, I have a stack of Bitcoin, $10 million of Bitcoin. I start issuing equity based upon my ability to acquire more Bitcoin. Then I issue credit, fixed credit, convertible credit, some other credit, and then I use it to buy Bitcoin. And of course, the point is, when Metaplanet was a hotel, they might be able to buy $1 million of Bitcoin a year. But when Metaplanet started issuing equity, it's able to issue $1 billion of equity in a year. And so now they're buying not $1 million, but $1 billion a year. But the rate at which a company can issue equity or credit is exponential, but it's not like annual. You might be doubling every month, right? You might go into something like on October 30th, we announced a $21 billion ATM. We thought, well, if we do that in 3 years, that'll be the most successful equity program in the history of the capital markets. If we did it in 3 years, and we did it in like 3 months, because all you're doing is you're swapping equity for Bitcoin and you're swapping credit for Bitcoin. Companies can do that. individuals can't do that, but when you put three individuals together and they cooperate, they become a company. So really, I wouldn't be afraid of a company. I would just say a company is when, one dude that knows finance got together with one lawyer and got together with one leader, a CEO, a CFO, a general counsel. Now you have a Bitcoin treasury company. If you put Bitcoin digital capital behind it, and now you can grow literally as fast as you can issue the security and buy the Bitcoin, and that is an investment cycle which is 1,000 times faster than, a physical real estate cycle or a business cycle.
Michael Saylor showed the world how to leverage dying fiat to accumulate Bitcoin. Strategy now holds about 3% of all Bitcoin in existence, actually. But the difference is Saylor did it to escape the system and save his company. Wall Street is doing it to rebuild the system that ruined money in the first place, all on top of your Bitcoin.
That's not what I had in mind.
I'm going to stop it there. But this is, again, and I have, I'm going to switch to a tweet from earlier today. But I was in a Spaces just a little bit ago, and you can see here's BlackRock dumping on the markets. So they do believe in Bitcoin, but at the same time, they're dumping their own portion of their ETF that they've been holding. So they are trying to keep the price somewhere where they think it's nominal for all this liquidity that's about to come into the markets, right? So I was at work yesterday and I was trying to explain this to my buddy, and I was like, here, let me get you a calculator for you. And I was like, let's just say the US economy is 20 trillion. It's a little bit more. It's like 24 to 26, somewhere in there. Let's just say it's 20. I said, they're cutting the rates by a total of like a half, 0.5. That's a lot. That's a lot when you're talking about a $20 trillion dollar economy. And that comes to about $1 trillion of, liquidity that's probably going to come crashing into the markets at some point over the next couple of quarters. And usually when they tell you I haven't seen any articles recently because I'm always reading like 100+ articles every other day. I haven't seen any that said that it's going to be 1 trillion, but it looks like it's going to be somewhere between 1 to 3 trillion over the next couple of years. Because if they cut the rates again, that number would obviously go up again. But they have to do this, if you've been looking at housing markets, no one wants to take a loan right now because interest rates are just too effing high, right? Let's be clear. Until they come down, most people aren't like, hey, yeah, sign me up for, 7 to 10, maybe even 12% interest on a mortgage. No, thank you. And that's just where we're at right now. And the markets are reflecting the pain of this shift into this global shift into this, new Bitcoin / stablecoin economy that's coming, right? We have the ETFs this week, Litecoin, Solana, Hedera ETF, and this is them. This is my theory playing out right before our eyes, right? I know you weren't on the last couple of shows, Peace Love, but I've been saying that, they're going to float the economy using, the crypto verse, right? How many IPOs did they just launch with American Bitcoin, Gemini, Circle? I don't know. There's like 4 or 5 different companies they just launched over the last couple of quarters. And now they're companies, right? Coinbase too, right?
Yep, Coinbase. I mean, and there's more to come. And there's also going to be a bunch of AI, which are related. Crypto is AI doesn't exist. AI needs crypto. Crypto is the currency for AI, likely Bitcoin in most cases.
Yeah.
So, and there's all sorts of stuff coming down the pipe for those. There's going to be a lot more. And then you also get all of the treasury companies that are issuing corporate debt in order to put Bitcoin on their balance sheets. So I mean, it's definitely fueling. It's definitely in the roadmap for fueling the expansion of the economy.
And couldn't you also say that they want to keep Bitcoin as low as possible for all these institutions to jump in, right? Like they artificially held gold low for different countries to get equal balances. And also, they're killing the leverage, right? So each time they suck out the leverage players in the field.
Right. Well, but you know what though? Shame on those people that are leveraging. I mean, because that's really that they have more money than you, and everything's on chain and everything's available. All that data is available, so they know how much they need to manipulate the price in order to. And it doesn't matter whether you're leveraging long or leveraging short. They're going to wipe you all out before the market moves, and that's the biggest problem right now.
And also they want a steady rise, not like a giant jump up, right? Because if Bitcoin gets to a certain size as it is now, if it grows too fast in one go, it's also
when you get those 80% corrections.
Yeah. But so far it was mostly retail, and now we got institutional adoption, so it's much more like steady step case.
Yeah, well, you think it's bad when retail experiences it. You watch when it's all treasury companies. That's actually, I think, the biggest danger for Bitcoin price right now is these treasury companies that are issuing corporate debt in order to put Bitcoin on the balance sheet. When there is a serious correction, and then all of a sudden they have margin calls, that's probably going to actually be the cause of the next bear market. Is when those guys have to meet a margin call because their balance sheet values went down, and the only thing they can do is sell the Bitcoin.
Then it will Bitcoin boom,
and then it'll be right.
Oh yeah, and that there is the potential of that happening, especially the companies that don't know what they're doing. Especially, most people don't realize this, but IBIT is managed by Coinbase. So BlackRock thinks they're in control of all this Bitcoin, which they technically legally are, but Coinbase handles all these funds, right? Let's be very clear. And they do a good job of it. I'm not trying to say anything bad, but it's creating these huge honeypots, and that's also an attack vector that everyone needs to be aware of. I have a tweet pulled up here, and this is just another tweet proving my point that people are starting to get what I'm saying, but that they're going to paste over all of our economic problems with the new crypto economy. Nick, if you could pull that up, it's from Russell Okung, right? He's saying, stable coins are the exit plan for US debt. Bitcoin is the exit plan for stable coins. And I've been saying this for a long time, right? Like Peace Love, I'm pretty sure is on the same page with me. You should be stacking sats. You might have to use stable coins at some point as a tool, but you shouldn't be saving in digital dollars, whatever form that may be, because they're not going to have the whole thesis behind a stable coin is that they will remain a dollar, right? They will never stretch towards infinity like Bitcoin or Litecoin.
You're always going to lose value. The dollar is going to perpetually lose value against Bitcoin over time, unless something drastically changes in the way that they create dollars. The dollar is going to lose
unless
value.
they start doing like Bitcoin-backed bonds. That starts happening in the next couple quarters. That all could change. But that would shoot the price of Bitcoin even higher.
Right. So even then, the dollar is going to shrink in value against Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. So that's the thing. As I think, we're seeing BlackRock utilize their position to manage the price a little bit. They don't mind. They like paper money, right? They're very good with paper money. They understand how it works, and it gives them liquidity, right? That's the one thing that they really love about Bitcoin is they can stack a whole bunch of Bitcoin on the side. It can grow by like 20%. They're happy with that. That's like, boom, they're like, pull the trigger. and they're cool with that 20% gains. But every time they do that, they're injecting, and I've said this many times, and I'm going to repeat this for a lot of my viewers, because there's a lot of people that I've said this is going to be a long, drawn out process, because we have so many, puzzle pieces going on now, right? Like, we have BlackRock dumping like $2 billion today. I had that, I think, pulled up too. I think I can pull that over. And then you have all the bears and the bulls fighting every day, right? And these people keep realizing, can't figure out, we're out of this 4-year cycle. We really are. It's over. We have too much adoption, right? Just a couple episodes ago, we were talking about how Paraguay is now almost 5% of the global hash rate of the Bitcoin network. That's like, whoa,
really?
That's really fast. Yes. I'll pull it up right now. I just did a little DuckDuckGo. It was their AI. I don't know what AI they're using, but here it is where let me share this tab. Recent developments. Paraguay is increasingly focusing on Bitcoin as part of its economic strategy. The Central Bank of Paraguay is exploring the integration of Bitcoin into the national reserves, leveraging the country's abundant hydropower resources for mining. So we're in full-fledged game theory playing out right before our eyes, right? We have TEPCO, Tokyo Electric Power. They have some solar farms. They're figuring out like, oh my gosh, we earn money now and nobody's using all this sun power that, it's in the middle of spring and everyone's got their windows open. No one needs air conditioning. All those power rates are down and they're just churning money. Now they're making money, right? That's why Mara has gone out to T-Boone Pickens Wind Farm. They're hooking up Bitcoin miners when they're turning out tons of energy and it's dark, right? Yeah, they're like having a windstorm at like 2 a.m. All the lights are off in Texas, y'all. So that's another level, right? And now Canaan, right? One of the companies I do invest in, they just said somebody's buying, I think it's a company called Solunas. They're buying 20 megawatts of Canaan miners to do the same thing that Mara's doing, because exactly, it's all wasted energy, right? It's like these wind turbines could be spinning at 3 a.m. The lights are out. They're making tons of energy. It's going to waste. Now you can switch over to Bitcoin miners, and now you're Satoshi,
and you get an additional benefit.
And all of these,
right? Because
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You get an additional benefit because as more countries join the Bitcoin mining spree, it decentralizes Bitcoin mining, which is, often what the critics.
Exactly, and that's the beautiful part is we're having all these like countries, big countries, small countries. In the bigger Western countries, yes, these people are interacting with Bitcoin through the ETF. In these smaller countries like Paraguay and like in the middle of nowhere, the Central African Republic, where they couldn't have this energy operation, now they can. They can throw up a couple solar panels. They can make a little dam in there if their stream is big enough, and they can hook up some ASICs, and now they're a part of the network too. And every time this happens, whether it's a micro version or a macro version like TEPCO doing, we have more and more people figuring out that Bitcoin, it is the distribution credit, it is the carbon credit, it is the methane flare credit, it is whatever you need it to be whenever you need it. And right now, I think BlackRock realizes they're going to take massive hits on their equities. So they're like, we got to get some cash out of the Bitcoin cow. And that's why they're dumping today. And the markets reflect this. But like I was saying in Spaces, we have November 10th coming. I'll pull up the hash rate chart of Bitcoin, and it just spiked over here the other day, October 25th. It was like 1.34 zettahashes. So the network is mad healthy. And as you can see, this is a massive bull power flag that's forming, right? You can see this, right? Like it's going in this direction. And I've been calling that it's going to hit 2 zettahashes way sooner than people think. I think it's going to get really close, like 1.75 to 1.99 zettahashes. And that just means that the mining community is solid, and this all of this panic in the streets from a lot of people is just, in my opinion, it's unwarranted. It means these people are new to Bitcoin. It's just like, calm down, take a deep breath.
Yeah, and also I saw the last one that Crypto Landy did, and Crypto Landy pointed out that Bitcoin is consolidating against gold and against the dollar, right? Because it has been going up like a lot.
And
so it needs to
yeah, and I was just before the show started, I just happened to look at Bloomberg. They were talking politics. I was like, whoa, what are you doing, Bloomberg? You're not supposed to be talking about politics. That's MSNBC and all these other channels. And then it was finally business stuff again. I looked over and it was like the dollar was edging higher. And usually when that happens, all risk assets like get a whomping. So, but that's not gonna last, right? Because let's just I'll pull up a chart of the DXY live, and I'm like, it's been bearish for the last like 6 to 12 months. Give me a sec. DXY.
And also those countries, right? By incorporating Bitcoin into their economies, they actually grow and become more wealthy and successful. So it actually will lift a lot of these countries out of poverty and, level the playing fields, so to speak.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I think I did find, wow, it's forming a massive, here, I'll pull it up, share this tab, pull full chart. You can see that like it is forming its own pennant here. So it could be breaking to the upside itself. But if we go to like, what is this? This is over. Is this? Oh, this is just a micro chart. I'm like, this is just an hourly chart. I knew it was. This is one thing I always tell people. When you're looking at charts, make sure you're looking at a whole bunch of different time frames. This is just like one day. Let's look at 1 year. Oh, not so good. Let's look at 5 years. 5 years, it doesn't look as crappy, but it doesn't look good. Let's take a look. I want to look at a 1 year chart. Yeah, this doesn't look healthy at all. I mean, the support is right around, it looks like in here, like 96. What's it say? It closed at 96.65. But you can see it's rallied the last few days here, getting to a high of back to $1, which it hasn't. Like the last time the Bitcoin, the last time the dollar was like super high was back here. Let's see. Yeah, it was like 110, closed at literally almost 110 as well. And that's impressive. But as you can see, it's collapsed. Here, when I was telling about spinning red dojis, which I have one pulled up on my bookmarks. Here's one right here. You can just see that thing. When you see something like this on the chart, it means it's going lower, and like 9 times out of 10. If it's green and it looks like that, usually it's the opposite. But as you can see, the dollar has not fared well over the last year or so. And this spinning red doji of death right here was the indicator for me. Like, just look at it. It's like, yeah. It's like I'm attacking here. And it's broken down for a long time. And this little rally, that definitely risk assets don't appreciate that. But let me pull up that chart. Let me see if I can find it really quick on my bookmarks, because again, they always mess with my bookmarks, and it's just, I don't like the desktop version of bookmarks. It's annoying. Here it is, I think. Yeah. So I was, oh yeah, this is one of gold, right? So as you can see, like when you see a red candle like this forming, where there's a massive wick on both ends, it's called a spinning doji. And when you see these are like really like huge technical indicators that something bad's coming, right? Like, especially on this one, you can see that the wick I know this little indicator is kind of blocking the end of this wick, but you can see it was breaking sub 4,000. And when I posted this on October 27th of a few days ago, I was like, yeah, it's going down more, y'all. And it literally went from, I guess it was right around 4,300, was almost getting to 4,400, which these kind of candles are good, but look how many there are on the gold chart, right? Gold is not Bitcoin. This just in. And literally, the next candle is this huge spinning red doji. Yeah, that's not good. That's, again, red alert. And we said this on the show, right? I said to Nick, I said, don't watch when all these people are standing in line. Your exit liquidity for all these 1%ers.
I sold.
We're waiting for this day, right? And you sold some too. Yeah, you were exit liquidity for Nick. Surprise!
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you to all those people in waiting in line. He appreciates you buying gold at 4,300 and something an ounce. Because that's the other thing. If you're ever buying gold at spot, like what are you buying? Like a gram at like a couple, like $150? It's like, what are you doing? You're not gonna. That's not gonna stretch your money out. I'm sorry. If you put gold up against
it could
Bitcoin,
potentially preserve your value
better than the dollar,
right? Not in the short term, though.
Yeah, but the worst thing about gold, and I had to come to terms with this because, I am semi-tactile. Like I like to touch my dog, right? I'm a musician. I like to play instruments, and I'm a drummer and a mandolin player and all that. But I came to terms that you can't throw paper money into your phone or into your laptop or your desktop. You can't throw gold bars into it. It really is a liquidity barrier.
It breaks,
right? Yeah, you got to go run to a gold dealer or a silver dealer and hope their spot price is fair, because some of those guys are shady. Be very, again, do your research on your gold and silver dealers.
Some money too. Like there's
exactly. So they knew gold's at a high. They're like, yeah, 4,200, and you're like, but it says 4,350. It's like spots. This is our spot price. Right. That's how things are that's how those people roll too. You get a much fairer price, even on Cash App, for Bitcoin than you do at some of these exchanges. That's another reason I tell people, why do you always recommend Cash App? Because if you look at the spread on Cash App versus like Coinbase or Binance or all these other guys, they're jacking it up when you buy.
Robinhood's like, oh yeah, we got Cash App
doesn't do it that much.
But you're paying 4% higher than the actual price that we're trading at.
Exactly. Like all these other exchanges, they're literally tacking on 1 to 5%. Cash App, it's like, I think it's like 0.00 like 5% or something like that. It's very fair. Right? They're not trying to rake you over the coals. This is why people should be paying attention what Jack Dorsey's doing, right? He's building miners, he's building a wallet, he's got BitChat, he's got Square, right? And that's the big news. I have that article pulled up, right? Let me see if I have it right here. Boom, 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 boom. Share this tab instead. Here it is. The rollout starts, right? With the exception of New York. Again, all right, we're going to talk about this for a real hot second. New York and Europe, stop being stupid with Bitcoin. Do you guys want to go back to the Stone Age? Like literally. But this is the big story. Square is officially launching out Bitcoin payments to like 4 million plus Square terminals on November 10th of this year. That's another reason I think it's like all signs point to this will be a good thing for Bitcoin overall, right? The really cool part is if you're a merchant, please hit me up. I've been telling people for years, I will show you how to do this. I will take time out of my day, free time that's valuable to show you how to do this, because for the first year, they're not charging any fees at all to take Bitcoin payments and even process them. So that's huge, right? You're literally, Dorsey's like, he's like almost giving you free Bitcoin by putting this out there for any merchants that have a Square terminal.
Just
Right?
to,
That's
can I
massive.
interrupt you for 1 second?
Go
We
ahead.
just had elections in Holland like 2 days ago. No, sorry, 1 day ago, like yesterday. Time flies. But apparently nothing is going to change. There's still like no talk about the monetary system, a broken monetary system. There's no talk about Bitcoin. There's not even talk about gold. And the parties that do, I voted on the Libertarian Party. It didn't even have one vote, like, one seat, I should say, in government.
Wow.
So, nothing is going to change. We're going downhill.
Like, they think it's this like scam, and it's like, dude, you literally have like the Saudi royal family like buying it. They like the UAE is mining it. Like, so many countries are now figuring this out, from Bhutan to, like I said, Paraguay to El Salvador to Costa Rica, you name it. The list is endless. The UK is mining it. There's people mining in the UK, but the UK government is just like oblivious. They think they can have just stable coins and not Bitcoin. It's like, no, you have to have Bitcoin, just like you had gold backed money. You have to have the Bitcoin to like kind of protect all this other craziness that you dummies have been doing
in Europe,
for all these years.
In Europe, they only focus on capital control, right? So they want CBDCs and digital IDs, and they want to lock us all up and make sure that the capital doesn't fly from Europe. That's their whole game plan. Lock us up in cages.
I know, and again, I know it screws up their WEF plans, but Bitcoin was sent by God to do this, right?
Yeah.
Like, it literally. They've been debasing money for 1,500 years, right? It started with coin clipping, and then they, finally had to do the ridged coins so to protect that from happening. And then we eventually get to paper money, and then they're like, oh, we can just go nuts with paper money. And now again, like I saw this guy, I think we shared, I don't know if we shared this on the last show. This guy said he bought all these nickels. I was like, is this guy like serious? Like, you're buying you're buying Federal Reserve S tokens. That's what you're telling me, right? Like, what? No, dude, it's Bitcoin, Litecoin. I like that Solana's fast, but I hate when it goes down. That's the only thing I'll say about Solana. I like that it's quick.
I know a lot of people are. I'm not saying Solana is going to go away. But Ethereum's the one that the establishment TradFi are building on right now. They're building on
they like it.
Yeah, they like it.
Because you can print more money, and that's what I love about it, right? We shared that article last show where they were like, we accidentally printed 300 trillion stable coins. I was like, that was no accident. That's what I've been saying.
They can shut down your stable coins pretty easily too.
And that's the bad part. There's a lot of these stable coins that they do already have capital controls on, right? Let's be very clear. Binance, BUSD, they can retract transactions. Paxos stablecoin. Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 of them where they can literally see where it went. They can redial it back and reclaim it on a handful of these stable coins. Already they have capital controls built in.
But who's they? That's the thing. This is supposed to be a decentralized.
Well, it's usually
who's they?
Binance.
Yeah, right. Binance. It's
and that's why, there's some people that hate on CZ, and I know he's been up in the news the last couple of days. I didn't think we'd get to this topic, but might as well. If you've watched some of his speeches, I highly recommend them from 2018 when he was just starting Binance. He is a true crypto anarchist. The man wants to set the world financially free, and anyone that doesn't get this concept doesn't understand what CZ is about. He knows that Bitcoin is the most important asset in the world, and he knows that Binance Coin is going to play an integral role in that. But the things that he took the heat for were done by shady individuals within his organization. But like a man, he stood up because he was the CEO and took responsibility himself. Most of these shady things were not executed by CZ, but he took the flack because he's a real man, right? He didn't go, oh, it was this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. He's the CEO. He took the hit, and he took the punishment that came with that. The fact that, Elizabeth Warren is out there again saying stuff that she knows zero about, shocking.
Well, she knows something
just
about
goes,
it. She knows that the people that finance her campaigns don't like it and want her to oppose
They
it.
didn't like it until last week, right?
All
Until
right.
JP Morgan said, yeah, we'll take your Bitcoin and Ethereum as collateral. Shocker. And what have I been saying for years? They're going to do this, right? I've been saying this since 2020. They're going to do this. When they give you this option, do not do it.
No, because
I did it with my money,
yeah.
with Celsius, right? Lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? So take it from somebody who's gone through the grinder, and I've gotten just a hair back compared to what it was, right? So they're going to do the same thing with your Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're going to fractionalize, trade the S out of it, and make a ton of money with it, and you're not going to get
You're breaking up
right when it was getting good. Yeah, I know. I just
you broke
said
up
that
for a second at the end there, man. I missed that last sentence.
Yeah. And again, basically, they're going to take your Bitcoin, fractionalize, trade the S out of it, make a ton of money off it.
I think you can't say that. They will just freeze you.
Yeah,
Now
every
they've
time I
frozen
say
your
the
video.
same thing. Yes, exactly.
So
Let's try it one more time.
They're
They're going to fractionalize, trade the Ethereum and Bitcoin, and then they're literally going to not give you any of that. There we go. Boom.
Well, right. Well, so and what they want you to use it as collateral, so that then they can tank the economy and take your collateral.
Yes.
Yeah, and then they're going to what they do is they're going to take that collateral, print stable coins, right, and then make all this money with it, and you will get nothing from that. It's like, no, it's like keep your own asset, learn how to hodl your own assets. That's the whole beauty of the Web3 economy. Hold your own Bitcoin, hold your own Ethereum, hold your own Litecoin. If you're investing, I did, let me see if I have those tweets pulled up. Literally, here it is. Like a couple of days ago, boom, 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 boom. The picture on the right, I posted this the day before. I was like, yeah, no, don't be buying gold. Buy Bitcoin, AI stocks, BTC stocks, quantum computing stocks, LTC ETF. And then the next day, what happened? Oh, boom. So again, if you don't see that the crypto economy is taking over, it's exploding in our faces, literally. And of course, there's going to be volatility. Most of the smart money in the world, the 1%ers are figuring this out. The people that are below them, some of them are market makers. They're coming to terms with these old markets are about to die. They don't like that, right? There's a lot of them that don't want the transparency, right? This is why the gold tokens never work. Third-party redemption. And why would the gold people want to know how much gold is in wherever it is? Because it would devalue their gold, right? So they don't want transparency. So every time they tried it, right? Perth did it. The Perth, one of the central banks of the Perth Bank in Australia had this thing going on for years. I think it was like 2018 to 2022. They tried a gold token. It didn't work. Oh, wonder why. And they're the damn government, right? This is another reason why I always tell people, be careful. All these government products they're swearing that they're going to put out, that it's going to be so amazing, like whether it's their digital dollar or whatever. It's the government. They're not good at building technology. Shocker. But yeah, we're in an amazing new time, and the fact that people don't see this is blowing my mind. I bought some of that Canary Litecoin ETF the other day just because that's how much I believe in what's about to happen. And I knew it was going to go down. And I was like, I don't care. I'll just buy 10. I was like, I don't care. But this is how much I believe in it. And what I think is going to happen is, yes, they're going to utilize these products to lever down the price of these assets, because that one, I think I had another chart of Litecoin back here showing very similar. Let's see.
But November 10th is the date.
Yeah, November 10th is definitely the day for this the Square release, and it also looks like that might be the time where the hash rate lines up with a pump, which I always I'm excited to see happening. I'm just trying to find that other chart that I had pulled up of Litecoin, which was similar, had a similar red doji on it, so people could. Where did I put it? Did I grab it? I think here I have a smaller chart that I had another one. It's this one here, but you can see this one right here. It's going down, and I had the chart that I had pulled up, had it going a little bit lower, kind of like below 60, like touching like the 55 range. So this is a highly probable thing, right? That, like I said, they're utilizing these new assets to lever down the L1s that they want to accrue, right? They've been doing it with Bitcoin, right? Now they're going to do it with Litecoin, Solana, Hedera. It looks like XRP one might come into play. Okay, I thought I lost you all there for a second. But they're going to do this against all of these. These are the chosen ones that they're selecting, right? These are also a lot of the coins that were in that WEF World Bank prospectus from 20, I think 20, where it was like Solana, Litecoin, XLM, XRP. Obviously, they didn't want to put Bitcoin in there, but Bitcoin, let's be real. And these kind of coins, I think the proof of work ones are much safer, right? Like XLM has its DPoS issues, so does XRP. And if you study these models, we've talked about this time and time again, whether it's Ethereum's proof of stake problems, where it's, you know, broken smart contracts, etc. XLM and XRP have a very similar node model that's not very decentralized. Let's just put it that way. This is why a lot of these companies aren't being looked at as seriously as Solana, because there's a lot more Solana nodes out there. Even though I don't believe that it should be Solana, I think it should be Litecoin or Bitcoin. That's what who was it? I guess MoneyGram's going with. Which is kind of all the XRP people were like, no. I'm sure your brother was pissed.
Well, they always come up with another story.
I like Solana over XLM and XRP because, like I said, it does have a little bit more decentralization. But Solana goes down because it is centralized. Right? The things I like about Solana, like I've said, it's very quick, it's pretty straightforward, it's pretty easy. But when the network goes down, you don't want that if you're moving hundreds of millions of dollars in securities or equities. That's just not a good feature to have in the model. Let's be clear.
Yeah, all sorts of things.
Yeah, this is why it should be Bitcoin, the Bitcoin Lightning Network, Litecoin. This is why proof of work models are far superior, because you're connected to the grid, right? Once we connect to the real world, we are defending something. When people say Bitcoin or Litecoin's backed by nothing, no, it's backed by a F ton of power, right? And this power is this super force field that protects an F ton of money now, a $2.1 trillion in Bitcoin and like $1.75 trillion in the alt markets.
And that's also the bounty to hack it, right? So if somebody out there wants to hack Bitcoin, you know, there's a big bounty, and nobody succeeded.
Yeah, good luck. So I always tell that story, right? There's this story from like, I guess 2017 or 2016, where this very wealthy tech guy goes to all these like industrial grade, like military hackers, and is like, I'll give you $500 million to hack a Bitcoin. He gave him a check for $500 million. They came back a month later and slid the check back over to him. He's like, we're like, we can't do it. And this was back then. And that's why I tell people, you have no idea how powerful Bitcoin is. And as all of these energy companies figure this out before you, that's not good for you. You're going to be a stable coin user. Sorry, these are facts. But you want to figure out why Bitcoin is digital energy money, right? And that's what it is. And that's why it makes it so superior to any other form of money ever made. All these energy companies are figuring this out. They're going to make Bitcoin for free off of all of this money that they threw away for years, right? Whether it's methane flare or it's a wind farm that's producing at 3 a.m. or it's a huge solar farm that's in the middle of the desert and it's like 60 out. Well, guess what? People have their windows open and these energy farms are just creating tons of juice and earning zero at some points. And that's why these systems fail. And people always talk smack on wind and solar, but going into the future, nope. Now it makes wind and solar very viable, right? And this is where we're at. This is a big deal. And we're in just the beginning stages of everyone in the world figuring out why it's so important.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, no worries, man. If you got a jet, go ahead. No worries.
It's just a Grand Central Station in my house. Kids coming in, wife getting dinner started, and it's like right to me here, and I can't just avoid it right now. Unfortunately.
No worries.
Thank you guys so much for letting me jump in, man. Always a pleasure. Jerry, Nick, Jerry, great stuff, man. Keep up the great work. You know, you're bringing some lots of perspective and lots of thought-provoking conversation to the masses about a very important subject, Bitcoin, which is really fundamental to all of us. So thanks for having me. And to our audience, enjoy the rest of the show. And I'll catch you guys again soon.
Take care, Steve.
Take it easy, guys.
Take care. Peace, Steve. But yeah, I mean, we're seeing the beginnings of the cryptoverse turn into, you know, the real markets, right? The real financial markets are realizing, they're coming to terms that this Bitcoin thing is not a scam, right? It's not going anywhere. And how do we use it, right? How do we build on it? And that's the beautiful thing, is that there's people just figuring out you can just sit on it as like a savings account. You can build products like Jack Dorsey's doing on top of it, and other builders out there that are building products and services around Bitcoin. But there's so much that can be done. If you're a vendor, right? Square, if you have a Square terminal, please figure it out. They're giving you free processing fees for the first year. That's insane. That's like Jack Dorsey saying, here's free Bitcoin, take it. And people will pay you with it. I have a Lightning wallet that is just raring to go on November 10th, just to show people how easy it's going to be. I set my buddy up yesterday. I gave him like $10 worth of Bitcoin. I had some just sitting in a Cash App. It was like $9 worth. And I was like, dude, let me just show you how this works. And using the L1 was like, they wanted $2. And I was like, wait a second, I can use the Lightning Network for this little transaction right here. And it did let me do an LNC transaction. And it was a huge address. That was the crazy part. But as soon as I pasted it into his wallet and hit send, or into my wallet and hit send, boom, it popped up. Like, we're talking less than a nanosecond. Wow. It was fast. So again, the Lightning Network, that's another thing. It's very strong. Jack believes in the Lightning Network. And that was the cool part. It went from, oh, you have to lose like $2 worth of Bitcoin to, oh, I can just send it to you and boom, we'll avoid fees. And he literally got like 99% of it. It was like awesome, right? Like,
Gerald, can you repeat what will happen on November 10th?
Oh yeah, so November 10th, Square is going to unlock their Bitcoin payments channel to somewhere over 4 million plus terminals, Square terminals that people use from, you know, their own little retail stores, food trucks, pizza shops, etc., that you see around everywhere in the world, where they turn that little screen around and, you know, you got a sign or tip. That's usually a square. And this is going to make, you know, this is turning Bitcoin into money. I think I had the other tweet, or no, this was the other article here. I'll pull up this one. So this was just a couple of weeks ago. They did the first Bitcoin payment through Square terminal. Here's one right here, as you can see, when they swipe it around to you. Now, if you do a Bitcoin payment, you can see this guy's Zeus wallet, his Zeus Lightning wallet open there. There's the QR code. You're just going to scan the QR code and then hit send, and boom, you can pay for coffee at this coffee shop that was in, I think, Washington, D.C. And this was the first Square Bitcoin transaction. So October 15th obviously would be a historic day, because, you know, we've been talking about taking payments for coffee for payments through Bitcoin for many, many moons. And even though there's other places in the world that have done this before this incident, this is huge, because this is different than just one major brand accepting Bitcoin. Even though that's a big deal, this is now millions and millions of different types of vendors, brands, like I said, food trucks, coffee shops, etc., that can open this doorway to this ecosystem instantly and for no fees the first year, which is Jack Dorsey saying, like, I'm just throwing you a bone. And that's totally amazing. Oh, the other part is you can instantly convert it. The one buddy I'm helping at his food truck, I told him I would keep 80+% of whatever people, if you know, because I told him, like, as soon as it comes on, I'm gonna buy a whole bunch of vegan food at the truck, bro. I got this Lightning wallet set up for a while now. But I told him you should keep 80%. If you need to convert some to dollars, like maybe like 20-25%, but keep like the majority of it, because it's like the rarest digital thing ever created, right?
Digital gold dust.
Yeah, it's like digital gold plus platinum plus add electricity and then oil applications and plus Web3.
Magic internet money. Yes,
exactly. It is truly magic electric internet money. And that's why it's so powerful, that it can be so many things for different people, right? For that person, it was a payment for their coffee. For somebody in, that there's that guy that takes, I think he's either in El Salvador or Costa Rica. I forget which country he's in, but he takes like used grease from local vendors that, that they're fryer grease, and he puts it in his biodiesel generator, and he's been hooking it up to ASICs for years now, and he's got like, I think 1 to 2 Bitcoin. So it just shows you, like, if you figure it out and you get determined, right? Like other ideas out there that here's another one for if you're out there and you're literally on the street, like there's certain states, right? You can recycle aluminum or whatever you can recycle and get cash for it. Take that cash, go back to the Coinstar, start buying Bitcoin with some of that cash, right? Put like 50% of that cash towards Bitcoin. And then every time you go recycling out, you're going to notice that all of a sudden your Bitcoin stash is like 0.1 Bitcoin or 0.25 Bitcoin. You're like, holy moly. It's growing. Yeah, dude, this is like, it can be done at any level, right? Just figure it out. You need to really figure this out. It is vital, because this is a huge shift. If you understand QR codes, you're probably going to be cool. That's the first thing I said to my buddy. I'm like, you know how QR codes work, right? He's like, yeah. I was like, you'll be cool. I was like, do you know how two-factor codes work? He's like, yeah. I was like, you'll be cool. I was like, you can do this, dude. And he literally within a half an hour figured out he's going to sync this new card that he gets from DoorDash to his Cash App. And every time he goes in DoorDashes for extra money, a portion of that's going to stacking sats. He figured that out in 20 minutes. He's a lefty. That's why I told him, I was like, dude, most people can't figure this out this quick, bro. And he's like, yeah. And I just keep $20, $50, whatever. I just keep doing that and doing that and doing that. I was like, yes, bro, exactly. It's called stacking sats. He's like, I get it. And I was like, dude, this conversation sometimes has to be had like 1,000 times with some people, right? He gets it like that. But that's where we're at, right? There's people around the world that are starting to realize that this is an important thing. It goes far beyond magic internet money, right? It is a digital savings vehicle for the world, right? It is a way that you can stack your money and time against the deflating paper money of your country, right? Because whatever form they make, whether it's a digital Chinese digital yuan or this digital euro or this USDC CIA coin that comes out, whatever it is, it's going to lose value the same way. They'll be able to hide it for a little, but they will lose value against Bitcoin just like everything else does, right? This is just a fact. I just have a few more articles to kind of share and show this, but let me see if I can pull up one. There was one from a couple of days ago where like they upgraded Sailor, right? And they downgraded Berkshire Hathaway.
Yeah, Warren Buffett. Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, dude. And I think I have it. Hold on. I think it's at the top though. Slow down. Warren Buffett. There it is. And I said this just the other day, right? It doesn't matter if you're Warren Buffett. Bitcoin doesn't care, right? Bitcoin, let me repeat this. You can have as much money as Warren Buffett. Bitcoin doesn't care. It's going to wreck a lot of 1%ers, right? It already got Vanguard, the CEO of Vanguard, fired. And people are like, oh, he didn't get fired for Bitcoin. Oh, that's funny because the next CEO was like integral into the Bitcoin ETFs and like helped start like 3 of them. But yeah, it had nothing to do with Bitcoin, clearly. What? Are you crazy? And now they're like buying IBIT themselves. So please don't tell me we can't read between the lines. A 1%er got fired because he couldn't see why Bitcoin was important. Are you paying attention? Berkshire Hathaway got downgraded, and obviously we get why MicroStrategy got upgraded because Michael Saylor figured out a von Mises with Bitcoin, right? Where he's like, I'm just going to keep issuing debt. People will keep buying this paper garbage, and I'll keep buying more Bitcoin. And if they want to buy the paper crap, that's on them. And guess what? How's MicroStrategy doing? Shall I pull up a chart? Yeah, why not? Let's see. MicroStrategy chart. Let's see. Share this tab. Oh, wow. Yeah, that looks great. That looks wonderful. Yeah. And again, do you think you should be holding his paper assets? No. You should be doing exactly what he is doing. And what is that? He's buying a superior asset and selling you garbage, right? I'm just trying to point this out where people think it's great. It's like, no, it's not. Until he starts making some Bitcoin products like Jack Dorsey, I would be buying. And again, I don't own any Square, but you want to buy a stock, Square, right? He's got the miners, he's got the wallets, he's got all this stuff he makes. He's like a Canaan, right? Canaan makes all these things and they mine Bitcoin. That's why I tell people, I'm like, yeah, you keep buying MicroStrategy. I'll keep buying Canaan And yeah, maybe I will buy some Square because why wouldn't you? They're gonna become like the Google of the Bitcoin economy. Look how much cool crap they already make. And Coinbase, obviously, they're not going anywhere, but I'm not recommending them at this moment. But look at MicroStrategy's chart. This is just a daily chart, but Bitcoin is holding its ground. People are crying it's at like 10 whatever. Just a couple of months ago, MicroStrategy was like $430.
Yeah.
Bitcoin's still like at 100. Yeah, go ahead. Right? It was.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And Bitcoin's like still between 108 and 115,000. It's like, it's literally nominal. And people are like, the sky's falling, the sky's falling, the sky's falling. It's like, no, it's not. Like, what are you talking about? Gold people, their sky's falling. Gold went down like $1 trillion or two. I think it was like $1 or $2 trillion in like a day. Like, hello, that's exactly what we warned you would happen. They will dump on you.
Yeah.
This is too good. Did you see how many green candles are lined up? It looked like a straight up Bitcoin chart. That's impossible. There's only one thing that Bitcoin's Bitcoin.
Yeah, Bitcoin is now at 106.
Yeah. And I said, don't be surprised if we touch 105 last time. I'm not surprised we're coming to retest it again.
Yeah. As long as we stay above 103, we should be fine.
Yeah, I mean, it could go below, but that's just how the market fluctuations is. Bitcoin is so liquid and so open, the market, that it can break those little lines that you think are like lines in the sand for charts. It's like, this is Bitcoin. It doesn't care. It doesn't care about your fancy lines. All right. It'll go like this sometimes, like phew, break your line and then go the opposite direction, right? Like what? Makes no sense. But gold, yeah, that gold chart, when I saw that big red spinning a doji, I'm like, oh, here we go. Pew! Peter Schiff lost a ton of money because he don't sell.
Jerry, what about altcoins? What about the altcoins?
Again, it's a patience game because here we haven't pulled up. I'll pull up CoinMarketCap and take a look at the total.
The dominance.
Let's see, CoinMarketCap. Boom, boom, boom.
Did you see the meme with wait, I'll share this one. It's a funny meme. Wait, 1 second.
Which one? Yeah, if you have it, pull it up.
Yeah. Give me one.
Oh yeah, here it is. So let's say share this tab, look at this chart. Come on. But yeah, see, like if you look at this chart right here, it was doing great. And this is what this is all comes from people wanting to leverage trade their Bitcoin, and you're coming against market makers that have programs that see that you're trying to make money, and they with your $2,000 short, or in this case a $2,000 long, and boom, like look how much money came into the markets. We're sitting at like 3.66 trillion, and then at this peak it's like right around, and even back here, like this is where it started to get bad, where the markets were humming right here. Boom, 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 boom. And then boom, 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 boom. And we're back down to here. So that's not making any sense to me, right?
Feels like
that
this.
just doesn't. The only thing I can think of is that people are starting to realize that their S coins are losers, right? And they're starting to either roll back into stable coins and trying to figure out, oh, is this it? Yeah. Gold, Bitcoin, alt season, drowned it. Yeah, it's just, again, I think we're seeing a lot of people realize that their meme coin is not going to make it and they're leaving. But I don't think this is the time, because just over the last couple of weeks, right? We have that finance guy who was anti-Bitcoin for how long? I don't know, like 4 or 5 years. This guy's been like anti-Bitcoin, and he's like, I see that it's red. I don't know much about it, but I'm gonna buy some. I was like, that's how it starts, bro. Good move. And then like the next day or 2 days later, he was like, the internet was down, but my Bitcoin didn't go down.
So
interesting. And I was like, correct, bro. You're starting to get it. And within like 5 days, he was just like my buddy. It took him about a week, but think about it. My buddy got it in 20 minutes. He got it in 5 days. We're starting to have the retail people figure out what the 1%ers figured out about a year ago, right? Like, oh, this Bitcoin's going to be around. I guess I have to figure this crap out. Because why do you think the 1%ers are buying it? Because they want to stay in that class, right? If you don't have any, you will not be in that power group anymore.
But
this is a fact.
Johnny Bravo thinks we just got the last pump, and now that was it.
Oh, Johnny. Yeah, according to what the chart we just looked at, yeah, it does look pretty bleak. But all the macro indicators point to a different story, that this is definitely market manipulation. And I do have tons of confirmation to prove this, right? We have BlackRock dumped $2 billion today. A couple weeks ago, they dumped $800 million in about 10 minutes. So it just is proving my point that they're probably cashing in on a lot of this ETF that they bought when, Bitcoin was 70K. And then they're like, score, yes, money. And what do you think they're going to do? They're going to buy some more Bitcoin or buy back into the ETF, or they're going to buy stable coins, right? Because they need stable coins. They know they're going to have to utilize stable coins.
Or XRP.
Yeah, of course. And again, I don't get me wrong. I think XRP is still an amazing tool, but the stories that came out this week with MoneyGram, which blew my mind because MoneyGram loved XRP. They used it for a couple of years. I read their technical papers about it because I'm a nerdizoid. I like reading technical papers. And they were drooling. And literally, I'll give you the breakdown of how it worked, right? They would, when they did use, because this is very fascinating, they deny to this day that they ever used XRP. And it's like, that's funny because I read your prospectus on when you did it and how much you loved it, because what they would do is they would take their cash and they'd convert it to XRP, then they would send it to Mexico, and then they would convert it back to money. But instead of converting it back to money, they would wait 7 to 14 days for XRP to go up 5 or 10%. And then they would sell it and then turn it back into cash. And then every time they did this, they would wait and they would just be patient for a short window. And they would just make sure it was on a local top that they sold. So they were not only moving this money fast, they were making money on the spread because of XRP's price action. And they loved it. They totally were drooling over it. And now they're like, we pick Solana. It's like, are you guys crack smokers all of a sudden? Don't get me wrong. I don't think XRP is the move as well, because I think it has problems as well, especially until the whole board gets rid of their bags. The board gets rid of their bags, I'm in. That's why Charlie Lee dumped his coin. Right now we have full evidence. I was the only analyst that said that in 2019. I said he's getting rid of it because they're probably pressuring him because it will become it's not a commodity. And literally he's in an interview on the last couple of, I think I saw him on Rachel Wolfson's show. I saw him on somebody else's show saying the same thing. He's like, yo, the SEC had all their lawyers pressuring my ish to either get rid of my stash or it's not a commodity. And he did it. And that's why we are where we are. All these people think he betrayed the community. No, he didn't. He saved it from being a security.
Yeah.
And until XRP, till Garlinghouse and crew gets rid of their bags, I'm not a believer, right? That's they every time XRP pumps, and I can show you chart after chart after chart after chart. Every time it does a 20% move, one of those board members I think, and even Jed McCaleb, because he has some bags, right? They go dumpy dump, dumpy dump, dump, dumpy dump. And everyone goes, oh, what happened? And I go, Garlinghouse or Jed McCaleb sold some more of their huge, massive bags on you. Like, you don't get how this works. But yeah, I'm for, you know, if MoneyGram's going to do this, you want to be doing it with Bitcoin or Litecoin, right? Again, let's get back to basics. Proof of work is far superior to proof of stake, delegated proof of stake. I don't know how many crypto models I got to pull up that failed multiple times, many times. The Solana model, right, which is like a semi-decentralized, centralized model, which is confusing. And anytime I say confusing, it usually what happens? It breaks. And the reason why is because they're trying to make something that's a hybrid of what Satoshi and what Charlie built, right? They're trying to build something that's is decentralized, but we have a back door, or we have we run one of these block producers, etc., whatever the case is, or we have a secure socket layer that only we can see the data. And every time they try,
it's kind of funny, you know, with XRP they say, you know, when it's, because it has stopped a couple of times, right? I think three times it has stopped the chain.
Yeah, it's going down.
And then but then they say like, yeah, but we have a fail proof, because then when it sort of stops, we, you know, it automatically holds and then it can be fixed. And then this, so they present it as a good thing.
Yeah, and this is what we're trying to avoid. This is why I try and point these things out. If we're moving trillions of dollars around globally, you don't want to have these issues.
No.
And they arise multiple times, right? XLM's gone down, XRP's gone down, Solana's gone down several dozen times. I want to say 24 times, something like that. Litecoin's never been down, not once. And before we wrap up the show, I think I just have a couple more of those tweets. Let me show. But yeah, here's the guys at Luxfolio talking about what happened.
XXLLUXFF. And you guys are raising right now. We're going to be
they're
closing
doing
a
a
$10 million
fundraiser
placement here probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks. We're Luxfolio.
So this is, if you're not familiar with Luxfolio, I think we talked about it a few times on the show. They are one of the first Litecoin treasury companies. And there's another one out there. Charlie Lee is on the board of Luxfolio now. Give me a second. I want to, where is the, there we go. Let's see. Oh yeah, here is that BlackRock is dumping, right? Yeah. 18,000 BTC, roughly 2 billion, and they kept selling. So again, this is what we're seeing, right? We're seeing a whole bunch of market manipulation. This is one of the charts I found very fascinating. And I agree that we're about to have a huge, massive bull run because the Fed cut rates again, right? That this is just like how it works. Like, let's be very clear. They cut rates by 0.5 basis points, right? I did the math on $20 trillion economy. It's a little bit higher, but let's just do 20 trillion. It's about $1 trillion that's going to get injected. He said 3.5, and usually whatever number they tell you on paper, yes, they do. It gets increased by sometimes 2 or 3x. I don't agree that every $100 is going to turn to $100,000 in days. I think that's insane. But what you can see is every time this happens, this does stimulate growth, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to cut rates by 0.5 basis points. Now, instead of your loan being 4.5 or 5.5%, it can be 4% or 3.5%, right? Mm-hmm. And that is a huge deal when you're taking out a mortgage. It's going to lead to people buying houses. And when people buy houses, then they do what? They have to have them inspected, and then they have to sometimes get their new roof done, and they have to get the foundation fixed, and they're going to go redo their living room or their kitchen, and they want to put new furniture in. And that's, you know, I'm in that chain of sales, right? That's what I do now. I fill your house with cool stuff. And that spurns the bottom end of the economy. And now they're using the top end of this new technology, right? Bitcoin and Litecoin and Ethereum and these types of products to create these new assets, right? Whether we're talking about stable coins or real world assets. I think I have that video too of Larry Fink from just, I think it was like, he said this like 3 or 4 times over the last couple of quarters.
To 500, 700,000.
Yeah, I think I have the video of him. I think it was at the bottom or the top. Dagnabbit.
Yeah, he has said that a couple of times. So do you think
Oh, here it is.
Tokenization and digitization. How quickly should they think about digitizing their own currency? What does that mean for the role of the dollar? If every currency digitizes and we have it, you know, what does that mean for bank payments? What does that mean for the payment companies like MasterCard and Visa? All these are being questioned right now. I will make, I think we spend so much time talking about AI. We're not spending enough time talking about how quickly we're going to tokenize every financial asset and the opportunity we're going to have a digital wallet and moving, ETFs and other things through a digital wallet. And I think that's going to happen worldwide very rapidly. And I think most countries are ill-prepared for that and underappreciate how technology is changing that, not unlike how technology is changing AI and other things. It will be changing the technology around the plumbing of finance.
Yeah, and let's be clear, another part of why I had this theory pop up that they're going to, float the economy using the crypto economy is over the last about 6-7 months, Robinhood, Crypto.com, multiple of these platforms had said, we're going to unlock these wallets. And if you give us, Kraken did this too. If you deposit X amount, we'll give you not only like, I think it was like 2 to 5% bonus up to X amount of crypto deposit. And it's like, why would they be doing this? Right. Yeah. And then all of them started offering equities, right? All of a sudden, crypto.com's like, oh, we're doing stocks, and these other platforms, oh, we're doing stocks too. And it's like, what's going on? And that's when I started to like figure it out. They're trying to get all of this liquidity from the crypto markets into their markets. And they're literally trying to like make it seem like nobody's going to notice that this is happening. But that's what's going on, right? The Tether is now in the top, I think, 10 of U.S. debt holders. Let me see if I have that pulled up. Give me a second. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But let me see. Yeah, here it is.
The UK is
yeah, they're number 17. Let's pull up the actual picture. But here, look, these are massive countries that are behind. Look, Tether holds more U.S. debt than Saudi Arabia, right? Like, what? This is like, are you paying attention, y'all? Right? And this is why I've been saying since like 2019 or 2020, stable coins are a tool. They're not your friends, right? Bitcoin's your friend, right? Litecoin's your friend. Tether.
Look at the other end. The Cayman Islands are number 4.
Oh yeah. How long have I been warning that? Look how much debt the Caymans hold. They're in the top 4 now, right? Japan still holds a massive amount. Holy moly! If we ever see Japan start to unravel our bonds, holy moly!
I think
we'd be in big trouble.
That explains why Japan and the UK listen so well to the US.
Yeah, isn't it funny? Maybe they'll start listening about Bitcoin now because, look what Larry Fink is saying, right? He wants all of the corn. Don't give it to him, right? Don't give him your corn. You want to invest in the ETF? Do it, because then you kind of have a paper version of Bitcoin ish. And look, I just bought some of the LTC one. I can't talk smack, but I believe that Bitcoin and Litecoin are the future of digital assets. I think Ethereum will be a fun experiment, but as soon as something breaks and it's a massive boo boo, it could potentially ruin a country's economy, and I don't recommend it. Just like I don't recommend MoneyGram using Solana. Don't do it, but you're going to. And the first time Solana goes down and you have to transfer like 100 mil, you're gonna be like, we don't like Solana anymore. Solana's not that good. No, it's not, bro. It isn't. When it's operating at full potential, it's great. But as soon as everyone's on the network and it's a humming, whether it's real users or bots, it slows down, and it's like throwing a monkey wrench into Big Ben, right?
So, Gerald, because the show is called the Bitcoin Boom, and it's not financial advice, but where do you see the peak this cycle? Do you think there still is a cycle? And what do you see happening towards, December? Because you got the Halloween effect, right?
Yeah, I think we have a couple things at play. I think there's a lot of smart money that exited in profit, right? When the markets hit that peak at like 4.3 trillion, right? But I think there is more waves of money coming, right? If you didn't look behind Larry Fink and see where he was at some huge economic summit somewhere in Saudi Arabia or the United Arab Emirates is my guess. And all of those people, they're buying Bitcoin. They're buying Litecoin. They're buying Ethereum. They're not going to buy stable coins like the banks will. The banks will be stacking stable coins, but they will always be stacking Bitcoin through the ETFs. And as soon as one of these big banks figures out that Litecoin is a very superior asset against all of these other altcoins, there will be more ETFs forming, right? And like I said, I think the theory is that they're going to try and lever down the L1s of LTC, Solana, Hedera, Bitcoin through their ETF and keep the prices somewhat nominal. So all of this new fresh capital from the 1%ers, from this huge rate cut, they have something that they can build on, right? Because if you're at an all-time high, you really can't build from there. And a lot of this money has just been sitting on the sidelines. Look at the reason why I'm pretty sure they downgraded Berkshire Hathaway. It's because a lot of his assets went into cash, right? He liquidated tons and tons and tons of his equities. And when you're sitting in just this cash position with I don't know how many billions of dollars, it's wasting away every time they do a rate cut, right? So they just cut 0.5, and that's going to affect his holdings. And for the last couple of years, when rates were the highest they've been in 20 plus years, he's happy. But they probably downgraded him based, I'm sure that had a little bit to do with it, that he's sitting on too much capital. And MicroStrategy has been figuring Bitcoin out, and most of the world is seeing from that little video that Bitcoin is the new economy, right? This is the blockchain is the new railroad company of the world, right? And Bitcoin is that locomotive that will keep going and going and going as all these energy companies, all these people, all of these assets, tools from, the Square thing happening, etc. And we're literally just at the beginning. And all of these people were 4 cycle, I don't know what the good term is, four cycle believers, right? They're four-cycle believers, and they exited out because the technical indicators did say that. But I think that is the fake out pump and the fake out dump, because there's trillions literally of dollars that are about to enter mostly into the Bitcoin economy, but now the Litecoin and Solana and other ETF economies, because now they're picking winners. And even though, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of Solana, I do hold some Solana meme coins. That's good for Solana. That's good for Solana meme coins. I am a believer in Litecoin. There is a Litecoin ETF. They're picking winners. Are you paying attention? Bitcoin is a winner. Ethereum, even though I'm not a huge fanboy anymore, it's an ETF. They picked it. They've donned it. Okay, you're good. Litecoin, boom. Solana, boom. Hedera Hashgraph, boom.
So you can just look at
seeing,
who gets an ETF. Those are the winners.
Yeah, these are the winners. Like everything else is like, I don't want to talk smack on anyone's Bitcoin blockchain of choice, but this is how it's going down, right? Like this is how it's always going down. They pick the winners and losers, and Bitcoin was picked a winner a few years ago when they dropped 10 ETFs within like a week. And Litecoin has Ethereum was next, but Litecoin everyone knew was a very close third, and it was because it is a commodity. It is a digital commodity. It is a scarce digital commodity. It's why I'm a huge believer in Bitcoin and Litecoin, because they do have capped supplies, whereas Ethereum, somehow they say it's capped, but it just keeps growing. And then they build these stable coins on it and all these other altcoins on it and these meme coins. And then, but it's still, it's capped somehow. Okay. Gotcha. Understood. Got it. But yeah, they're picking winners and losers right before our eyes. You should be paying attention, but this is the beginning of the crypto economy enveloping the real economy. And there was Larry Fink just saying it. We're going to tokenize everything, real estate, assets, mineral rights, you name it. And everyone in the room, the people's eyes are getting real big. And he's like, you're not going to believe how fast it's going to happen. And that's what it's scaring a lot of people. But the people like us, you should be sitting on your bags. Yeah. Do not be leaving the party.
So you do see a run up till the end of the year and then going into next year.
I mean, it just makes sense. There's just too much positive macro news, right? From the rate cuts to the tariffs going bye-bye to
China, America.
China, good news from that. Literally, the Fed's like, yeah, we're going to turn the money printer on and we're going to buy assets, right? Like we're going to buy stocks and bonds again. It's like, whoa, everything says the markets will pump super high. And we kind of had that happen like a week ago, right? They all were reacting to all this positive news. And anybody who's a bear, if you're on the other side of that coin, then you're like, oh, wow, this is the bear market pump. I'm getting out. Yeah. And I think that's what we're seeing is that, people are like, oh, no, there's too much, all this bad news over here. And even though there's a lot of bad news, they don't understand how much influence $4 trillion can have on economies. And now that they see that, and obviously we saw it came down to like 3 point whatever it was today, 3.6 or 3.3. I have a funny feeling that these markets are going to do like, not a 10x, but somewhere between a 2 to 5x over the next couple of years. I mean, let's be clear. We're going to have hundreds of billions and hundreds of billions of dollars flowing in back into the markets. But until the bears and the bulls and these leverage trading sites figure out like, yo, just sit on your stack and be a hodler, man. Stop making CZ and Deribit and BitMax and all these other exchanges. You're just making their CEOs wealthier. That's all you're doing.
With the 5x, you mean the total market cap of crypto?
Yeah. So looking somewhere between like 10 to $15 trillion over the next couple of years. And I thought that's what we were starting to see when we had that big pump from like a month ago.
Yeah.
But it appears that there's a lot of unbelievers that were on the downside of that mountain because a lot of people left. They just did. We lost $1 trillion in like a month. It's like, painful. But
you do notice that many people are confused, right? So many people are confused by the market, and they keep holding on to the 4-year cycle. So I think what you're saying is this is a matter of conviction, right? Do you actually understand the fundamentals of the asset that you're holding, or are you in it for speculation and money, and then you're totally lost and confused?
Exactly. That's the problem is a lot of the newbies think, you're going to put like $1,000, $2,000 into Bitcoin. And in like 6 months, it's going to be like $2 million. It's like, that's not how math works. And I think you're right that you have to have conviction here because Bitcoin's still at 107, 106, whatever it is. It's $100,000. Oh yeah, let me see if I can find the tweet that I found from me from like 2015. Hold up, and then we'll wrap up the show. This one's a good one.
Conviction and patience.
Exactly, conviction and patience. Let's see.
Marin Katusa called it the way of the alligator. You just lie around and wait.
Oh yeah, it's true. I mean, it's going to be painful times because the bears and the bulls want to keep fighting, and it just doesn't, really make sense when you could just become a part of the hodling crew. And hold on, I don't want to be scrolling while I'm doing that. And taking advantage of this massive wave of money coming in, but you still want to gamble. And obviously there's going to be some winners, but it's usually an 80-20 split, right? Like most of the people are losers. It's only the big market makers that win. And it's not usually the little guy.
Yeah, you're saying, right? The market can remain insane longer than you can remain solvent.
Yes, exactly, 1,000%. And that's what we're going through right now. It's like we just had like almost like $1 trillion flow in the markets in like 30 days. And then about 2 weeks, it flowed out. And it's like, ow, that hurts.
Especially in altcoins, right? Because altcoins always go down harder.
Yeah, I mean, everything obviously is taking a hit. I mean, Bitcoin was at like 125, but still, yes, altcoins always suffer the most. And I think that's what we're starting to see is that since they're picking winners and losers, people realize, this meme coin, this really rare meme coin that has like a 420 quadrillion supply, it's not the one, and it's not. I'm sorry to say, there's a whole bunch out there. Oh yeah, there was one from here. We'll show this. I can't find what I was looking for, but I know I had something else from this Litecoin guy, Trump. I just gotta look for Trump's face. It's just like a 6-second clip, but it's kind of funny. Come on, where are you? There it is. Share this tab.
Yeah, I'm starting to get hungry.
Yeah, sorry. But here it is, and then we'll just wrap.
Cool.
You know nothing about nothing. You fake news.
But here's what I tell people who don't get Litecoin. Just look at the stats. 14 years, zero downtime. One of the biggest crypto payment merchants. 2 LTC treasury companies. Privacy ETF, LTCC. That was the one that launched with Canary. 200,000 daily transactions. So again, when people say it's dead, it's like, no, people actually use Litecoin. Stop faking the funk. You just don't like it because you don't have any. That's the real thing, right? You don't own any. You don't know how it works. So you're going to talk smack. That's what maxis do. And whatever, people use it. People like it. But thank you for hanging out, Nick. I know you're starving. Sorry for the time change. Why can't we just all agree on a standardized time change and lock it in forever?
Yeah, daylight savings sucks.
Yeah. I think we should just set the clock to Bitcoin and we'd all be good. But
We
thanks
will.
again to yes, hopefully. Thanks again to all of our sponsors, Quantum Expeditions, The Organized Media, Shield Folio, Bitcoin Live, my producer, Nick. Peace, love, Steve, for hanging out. And that's a wrap. Thanks for hanging out. Bitcoin Boom coming soon. Be patient.
Thank you, Gerald. Take care.
Peace.